listening to the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast, a podcast in sisterhood for female entrepreneurs that serves up savvy, actionable marketing advice and interviews with creative business owners who are in the trenches, building their businesses as we speak. The Marketing in Yoga Pants community is for you, the girl on her couch, in her yoga pants, top knot tight, hunched over her MacBook, trying her hardest to get the word out about her business. So in the name of supporting each other while supporting ourselves, bringing community, sound marketing advice, coffee, chocolate, and wine together for you, yoga pants wearing business owner, in a world where followers mean nothing but paying customers mean the world, join us on this week's podcast episode and in our private Facebook group where you'll meet your soul sisters and build your business in yoga pants. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. I'm Britt Colo, and I'm here today with Ashley Beaudin, founder of the Imperfect Boss Movement. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ashley.
Thank you for asking me to be here. I'm pumped.
I'm pumped too. Okay, so I've been following Ashley for a couple years now. I first heard her on Amanda Boleyn's, she did her way podcast way back when.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was at least a couple years ago, and I've just been following her ever since, loving the stuff that she brings about into the world, her movements, and what she stands for. So I'm really excited to get some insight into her business, her industry, her marketing strategy, and what makes it all tick. So Ashley, are you ready to jump in?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Okay, first of all, you got to tell us, how do you earn your living?
How do I? It's interesting to answer this question right now because I'm recently making a transition, and I have made significant transitions through my creative journey, and so I was focusing a lot on consulting and helping other people start movements and create online movements, and I still do that a little bit. But the way that I'm really focusing on how I'm making money is through inspirational speaking and leading the Imperfect Boss and monetizing the movement over there.
Interesting. Okay, Tell us a little bit about that movement over there. If no one's heard of if no one's heard of the Imperfect Boss movement, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the Imperfect Boss was a movement I started in May 2016. So a year and a little, I guess almost a year and a half. And it is a movement that started on social media where I wanted to really encourage women to talk about their imperfections and to talk about what it really looks like to run your own business and be your own boss, and that it's not insta perfect, but that it is hard and real and crazy and amazing. It's all of those things. And so, we started with a social media campaign on Instagram. We focused on Instagram, and since then have run 5 of those campaigns. And during those campaigns, really have just gotten women to share confessions about why they're imperfect or what's been imperfect in their business. But my heart is really through the movement, whether we're doing those online things or whether we eventually get together in person, and to make imperfect normal, and to really inspire women to be real and confident, and to really bring the mix of those 2 things, not one of them alone. And I think that social media has really normalized perfect when really it's not real life at all. And so I kind of want to do the opposite, and that's kind of why that started and what it is.
Okay, cool. All right. So now that everybody understands what we're doing here, tell me the story. You kind of prefaced all of that with, there's been a lot of changes. So I want to hear about those changes. How did you come to do this with your life? How did you get to today?
Wow. When should I start?
Oh, I mean, start anywhere. Just give it to us.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Here's the thing. I grew up, when I was growing up, I was crazy shy. Like,
Okay.
so, like to the point where like I was so soft spoken, like it was like when I talked, like no one heard me. I was terrified of like talking to people. I remember in high school once I asked a friend of my sister's, I said, I just don't know how to have conversations with people. Like I don't know what to say. Like my mind comes blank. Like what do you even ask people? I was just so timid. And
Mhm.
in high school, I really had this defining moment where I discovered that there was actually a really passionate woman almost locked inside of me,
Mm.
and that I really did have a gift for communicating things and really mobilizing people to become involved in things. And
Mm.
almost like I could get into a room, and even though I was so shy, like the passion would kind of take over, and I would be able to inspire people to the point that they would actually want to do something. And so
Mm.
how my journey kind of started was I thought I'm like made for activism. and and so I actually went to university, studied human rights. I worked for some different nonprofits. I worked for government, and
Mhm.
but it just like was like dead end after dead end, and it was a feeling like I'm like no one's ever going to give me the job I want, and so I'm going to have to figure something else out. And I had gone through a series of unfortunate events where I had like and I had failed out of university, and then I went back and finished, and then I went overseas. I was supposed to be gone for 11 months, and then I had so much anxiety I had to come home last minute. And
Mm.
then I'm working this like job that doesn't use my brain at all, and I'm just like, life isn't feeling very exciting here. Like this is not what I was born for. Um, and at that moment, I decided I wanted to do something online again, and because I had done different things online in the past with like campaigns and messaging and
Mhm.
movements. I was like, I'm gonna do it again. So went online and kind of started picking up those pieces. I started this at the time, this Twitter chat for women who wanted to make a difference in the world, and it really took off, and that ended up leading into me being able to jump into full-time business. And and I definitely was like one of those people who like didn't I didn't have like 6 months money saved or whatever. Like I was like, I have $1,000. It's happening right now. And, and I just like have made it work ever since then. That was almost 4 years ago, actually.
Wow, that's
Um,
awesome.
and so then through that journey and through that process, it has been a constant figuring it out and whatever. But it's always come back to me wanting to create movements and communities and campaigns that empower women to bring their gifts to the world, and just like encourage the heck out of people. So
Oh, it's so cool to hear you say that, because that story started with, I was a really shy kid.
yeah,
And it's fun to think about. It's kind of mind-blowing to think about that shy kid turned into what we see, what we know now of this girl just out there connecting people and being a light, just
mhm,
shining her light really, really bright. And that's just really encouraging to me. So I just want to throw
yeah,
that at you right now, because that's so cool to hear. Um, so just kind of a random question.
yeah.
How many businesses how many businesses have you started and then been like, yeah, no, and like pivoted away from? Because,
Um,
and the reason I ask is because we all have done that. Like we
yeah,
have all done that, but nobody talks about it. So,
yeah. I would say probably a solid 5.
mhm,
And
yeah. And
I mean, some like were more intensive, obviously, than others. But
right.
yeah,
Yeah, I like to I don't know why, but I just felt like we all need to talk about this in this moment. I did too. I mean, how many stinking blogs did I start?
yeah, right.
At least 8.
Yeah, I know.
You
Vlogs, that's a
know,
whole different thing.
yeah, blogs and these weird Etsy shop ideas and all this stuff. And then now we're here. So sometimes we don't get to talk about that. Okay. Anyway, so
Yeah, that's
now
good.
talking about, you started the Imperfect Boss movement last year,
Yes.
2016. So take me back to that first campaign. How did you start getting attention around that movement?
Okay, so well, basically the thing is that it wasn't my first social media campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
it was my first Instagram campaign that I'd ever
Okay.
done.
Okay.
But I basically in my mind in 2011 had made up this way to do things that I didn't necessarily see anywhere, but it just was kind of instinctual. And so it was this idea always of doing 3-day campaigns and figuring out the best way to mobilize people to become involved. And to always figure out a way to mobilize people to become involved before it starts. That's the key right there. And so I know the first time I ever did one in 2011, Instagram wasn't even alive.
Right. Yeah.
And so the way that I did that was through Twitter chats and a blog tour.
Okay.
So then when I was thinking of this campaign, because I knew for sure that I wanted to do another social media campaign. And then the idea for the Imperfect Boss, literally, like, it just kind of came to me it came to me in a moment once when I was scrolling through Facebook. And so I was like, and to me, especially at the time, because like Insta stories weren't out, like it really was a very perfection driven platform. I would say probably even more than maybe it is now. And so I knew that I had to have a way to like really get people on board beforehand, and so that's why I had designed it with the influencer component from the very first campaign. So I started reaching out to people that I knew that I had, a lot of them I had known, like I had built relationship with over the years, or maybe like we had talked, I don't know, like we talked on Twitter or something, and asked them to post with me in this 3-day Imperfect Boss campaign. And then I also cold pitched, but I didn't cold pitch as many like in that first round because it hadn't been done before. And still got some pretty big names in the creative industry. And so why I love doing that is because then it doesn't, like, honestly, like, if I have this list of people that I know that are committed to this campaign, like, it doesn't matter if anyone else signs up, like, it's going to be a success because of who I've already mobilized.
Right.
And then I also even mobilized participants before the first campaign. And so that was kind of some of the beforehand work that I had done to make sure that that first round was a success. And to this day, honestly, I think the first round in some ways is still the most successful round. And I think part of that is just because it was so exciting, like it was so new, and people are like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
So yeah.
And like you said, Instagram was maybe even more perfect than it is now. I mean, it's still pretty ridiculously perfect, but yeah, it was even more. Yeah. Okay. So that super savvy, I guess I didn't know kind of the background work of trying to mobilize the influencers before you go ahead and mobilize someone else in the campaign. Really, really savvy there. It's almost like the precursor to Facebook challenges, right? Everybody's going crazy with Facebook challenges now. And it's, you kind of came up with that idea, like getting them involved. I like it. That's what you did. That's pretty cool. Okay. So take me through the last year or so. How have the campaigns worked? The campaigns around the movement worked to grow your business, and explain to us, how do the campaigns lead to anything? Are you calling them to action at the end? What does that look like?
Yeah, so this is something like that I've really experimented with. We've done like 5 different rounds. I have done different spins on, and some of them I've done different features. So some of them have had giveaways. Some of them, this last one had a virtual summit. Some had like physical merch product. Some I didn't offer anything at the end, or anything to purchase even at all in the thing. And the first one didn't have anything at the end. It was like a big experiment. And I like to try and keep them as exciting as I can. One round we did, we focused not on imperfection, but I focused on helping women to tell the world what makes them awesome, because I think it's the mix of those two things that we really need.
Yeah.
And it was kind of under this idea of like, if you went up to a woman and you said, tell me 5 reasons why you're imperfect, they could list it really easily. But if you said, tell me 5 reasons why you're awesome, they would really have trouble.
That's a good point.
But that campaign isn't as exciting for people. Because it's not, I don't know, there's something about like confessing imperfect things. It's like people like want to read them and they want to be a part of it a little bit more than good things. I think we sensationalize tragedy and difficulty more than positivity. So I've definitely seen that happen in the campaigns. And yeah, I have not necessarily done like solid call to actions every time, but this last campaign was probably the most solid one I had done, with the virtual summit at the end, a paid virtual summit at the end, which was a really good feeling for me.
Yeah, really kind of taking it. Did it feel like kind of the next level for you? This go to the summit. It felt like that from my perspective, having gone through a few of them. It felt like, ooh, yeah, Ashley's like in her, I mean, she's doing it, you know, she's taking it to this next level. So that's exciting. How does the live inspirational speaking play into this?
Yeah, how does it? I am.
Hello.
I mean, it's so funny sometimes when I'll go to networking events in person, and people will be like, they'll be like, "What do you do?" or like, or whatever, and I'll be like, and then they're like, "Am I asking really hard questions?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And the inspirational speaking stuff is definitely like a newer development. It's something I've done a lot of ever since I was in high school, but I had not introduced it to my business. A random fact is actually that I used to be a competitive French public speaker, and
Wow.
like went to like the state provincial level, and even so, kind of crazy.
And did you say French?
Yeah,
because you're from Canada, so that's kind of like your second, but that's really cool. Ooh, I'd love to listen to that.
but still, like, okay, like, because when I was in high school, like anyone could sign up to do to do French public speaking, but
Yeah.
like no one does. Like
Right.
it's like you have to be kind of crazy to you want to do that. But I think I like doing it because no one else would.
I
So
get that. Oh yeah, I get that.
I knew like I could go to regionals off the top.
There you go. So now speaking is back in your life. So
Yes.
how did that come about?
Well, I think. This was the other part. You asked me so many questions in
Oh,
one
I
that
know.
I
I'm
like.
sorry. My bad. That's totally my bad.
No, it's totally
I
fine.
just want to know more. Okay.
Because what did the campaign bring to me in my business?
Yeah.
Well, one, like, when I started the Imperfect Boss, I only had 1,500 Instagram followers. And now I have 10.7 thousand. So that was quite a
Nice.
jump
Yeah,
in
a
a short
little jump.
amount of time. Not the strategy you'd probably hear in a Instagram course.
True.
But a good strategy nonetheless.
Yes.
And I also got, that's the other piece of it, getting asked to speak a lot more on podcasts, on in real life events or in-person events. I find like one of the reasons I really believe in movements is that my whole theory on movements is that all a movement is giving someone an opportunity to experience your message, so that they don't just hear it, but that they experience it, and that's where they're transformed and changed. And so So the opportunity. So then, when you start a movement, you start to get recognized for your message because you're literally giving someone the opportunity to not just hear but experience it.
Right.
And then because of that, then you become like a go-to on that message. And I've definitely seen that happen in my own business, just on the topics of imperfection and vulnerability or movement making. So yeah.
That's a really good point. That's okay. I like that. I don't know if the listeners are feeling like this, but I'm thinking, ooh, what can I go mobilize people to do? You know,
That's right. That's
I
what
mean,
you gotta
I've
think.
yeah, we've all. I see the marketing in yoga pants as a movement somewhat, and I think the members are probably nodding their heads like, yeah, I definitely can see how that could work, but how can I lean into that a little bit more and make it something bigger than it already is? That's cool. I need to take notes when I'm done. So so you just finished up your 5th Imperfect Boss campaign.
Yes.
Now what are you working on?
Well, I'm working on scaling the movement. So we will be moving to probably once a year, like these huge campaigns, instead of doing them every 3 months. As well, I am hoping to build out 3 tiers kind of to the movement, which are digital products and experiences like the summit. Then I'm also starting to plan our large conference, which is supposed to be in October 2018. That's the date.
Ooh, nice. Write it
Um,
down.
and then small group intensives. And so I'm kind of like in the details of that right now, like figuring out what that's going to look like, what I'm going to do first. Um, Obviously, a large event is like a huge undertaking, so that's already taking up a lot of my time. But I'm really excited to see where we're going to go. I made the bold and brave decision as well to shut down our free Facebook group, and I'm really going to focus on putting out solid content through Instagram and our email list.
Nice. Okay. So what are the participants of the summit, the potentially the small group intensives, the people that come to the live event? What is that ultimate result or solution that you're providing to them? What's the goal here?
Yeah, what is the goal? I'm just going to keep repeating your question.
Yeah.
Just because it's funny.
You can tell I'm a coach, right? Because that's what my coaching clients do too. They're like, yeah, that's a good question, Britt. Figure that out for me.
Yeah, I know. We don't get answers. We're just
that's
like,
not the point.
great question. Got any more?
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, so the ultimate goal for me is to take someone who feels like they have all these imperfections. Maybe they feel insecure. Maybe they feel more aware of everything against them than everything for them. And to take them from that place to this place where they can really own who they are and own the story of what it's taken to get where they are. And to get them to a place where they can be real and confident with their gifts without feeling like that's a weakness. And so part of that is business, but a lot of that is just life and like heart transformation, and figuring out like to going into those deeper places and figuring out like what is the stuff that you really want and what is the stuff that's really holding you back.
Right.
And what do you think it says about you if you are real on the internet? What do you think it says about you if you're the most confident person in the room? And what are all these inner conversations that are happening that are holding you back? And it's really like from this place of like my vision, like my ultimate vision is to see as many women as possible, like hundreds of thousands of women, bring their gifts to the world, whatever it is, whether it's marketing, whether it's therapy, whatever it is, and with so much confidence, like without any hesitation, without any apology, And because I think that when that happens, when women can do that, not only will they become more alive, but the world will kind of get that transformation that these women are carrying and would never get if women were apologizing and hesitating and hoping someone else will do it. So it's my vision.
Oh man. Okay, two things, okay? Two things. Number one, as you were explaining that, you were just leaning into it. Like you physically leaned into it and you were just so excited to tell me about that. And that is just an obvious marker to me that's telling me, oh, Ashley, you are doing what you are meant to do. That is so cool to watch. I love that. And two, we've been talking here on the podcast and in our Facebook group a lot about our inner critic voice. We had one of my favorite people in the entire world on 2 times on the podcast so far, Joanna Platt. She's a relationship coach, and she dives into that inner critic work and inner mentor and inner child and all of that. But that inner critic work, yes, we're talking about business, but that is so a thing. Anything that you do in your business is something that's happening in your life, and vice versa. As much as we try to draw a straight line down the middle, it just no, nice try. But so that's really exciting to me because we talk about that in our private Facebook group all the time, and I know that it's stuff that people not only need but really truly want to take care of because they see things holding them back. They just don't know how to deal with it. So
100%.
Amazing. Okay, let's lighten things up. Some quick, easy questions.
Okay.
Nothing to do with business, really. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Philippines.
Ooh, cool. That's fun. Why'd you go
there?
You
want to know more, don't you?
I do. I always do. Yeah, why'd you go?
Oh, I'm going to tell you? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't
you're gonna tell me.
Like, for some of the podcasts, they do, like, speed questions.
Oh, yeah, I don't do that. I can't. I tried in the first season, but I can't because I always want to be like, okay, well, why'd you go there? So, why'd you go?
I volunteered. So I was doing, like, international relief or whatever, volunteering.
Oh, neat.
So, like,
awesome.
poor communities, yeah.
Your favorite way to learn? Do you read? Do you listen? Do you get your hands dirty? What does that look like?
I think it's talking with other people.
Talking, fleshing it out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that leads me to, you're a solopreneur mostly, right? Like you work out of your home mostly. Yeah. Who do you talk things out with?
Yeah, this has been a challenge for me, to be honest.
Me too. That's why I'm asking. Me too. And that's part of why Marketing in Yoga Pants started, but I'm still struggling with who do I talk to about this stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like really finding different friendships, even if they're just like online or text-based, can be really helpful. And going to in-person events and finding people, like do whatever you can to find someone.
I know, right?
I'm also like, sometimes I feel like I don't have a family, like single, like never been married or anything, and pretty much spend a lot of time alone. And so sometimes I feel like like I need to talk to someone, and I don't care who it is.
Girl, me too. Yeah. I hear you. So if anybody's listening that's like, yeah, me too. Well, hey, girlfriend, you're not alone. I get it.
It's funny. We get it. People who work full-time jobs, a lot of them will have the opposite. Like when they get home, they don't want to talk to anyone.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that's not me.
Right.
Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, that's been kind of a learning curve because anytime I do get to see someone after work, I'm like all over the place. I have so many things to say, and they're just like, can you slow down by like 100%? And I'm like, no. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm with you, girlfriend. Okay. What would you love to outsource? Another really hard question.
Man, you're on top of it. Probably cleaning my house.
Right?
It's like deep cleaning.
Yes.
I can tidy, but.
So, just full disclosure, I finally did outsource that. Oh man, so worth it.
Did it change your life?
It changed my life because I watched how hard she worked all day while I was doing because I work from home, right? So I got to kind of peek in and see what she was. Oh man, I never would have cleaned that hard. There's no way I would have put that much effort. And yeah, at the end of the day, so worth it. Okay, all right.
That's so funny.
Moving on. One last question. We've got to end with this one. Looking back, what advice would you give to yourself when you were first starting the Imperfect Boss movement? That girl on her couch, hunched over her MacBook, like we always are. We still are that girl, but you're trying to figure this out. What would you say to her?
I'd probably say that if you feel a message inside of you, that you can be 1,000% convinced that someone else needs it too.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my gosh. I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah, leave it there.
That was so well said. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh man, anybody listening, just click the back button, listen to that 4, 5, 6 more times because you need to hear that many times. Oh, it's so good. Okay. Before we go, Ashley, could you please tell the listeners where they can find you online?
Yeah, you can find me at theimperfectboss.com or ashleybowen.com. But I'm mostly on Instagram, ashley.beaudin or Imperfect Bosses.
Perfect. And always hashtag the Imperfect Boss. That's always a good place to find what's going on. Okay. Awesome. You heard her, girls. Go check her out, send her some love, and hop into our private Facebook group to hear even more from Ashley over the next few days. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Keep the conversation going by visiting marketinganyogapants.com/Facebook, where you'll get to join that private Facebook group I've been talking so much about. There, you'll get to chat with our podcast guests. Yeah, they're in there too, and all of the other brilliant creative business owners. We're connecting, we're meeting our soul sisters, and we're building our businesses, all while in yoga pants. So come hang out with us. Again, visit marketinganyogapants.com/Facebook to get in. And one more thing. If you dig this podcast, would you be awesome and share it with someone? This entire Marketing in Yoga Pants movement is nothing without its community. So please share. And if you're really feeling the love right now, jump into iTunes. You're probably already there if you're listening to this right now. And leave us a rating and review. The more of those we rack up, the more the podcast will be found by ladies like you, and the stronger this community becomes. This episode was edited and produced by the Podcast Engineers. They're pretty great, so go find them at podcastengineers.com. This episode was also brought to you by my online marketing agency, Jam Marketing Group, and you can find us at jammarketinggroup.co. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you back here next week on the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Love ya. Bye.